Yo, what up? It's AaroniMoses. And this video is going to be real quick, man. This is a response to a comment that I got from one of the homies asking where Shaft is. You know, Shaft is a person that I spoke about that was in jail in my video called Be a Follower, man. And I told a story pretty much where Shaft was breaking all the jailhouse rules and he suffered the consequences and repercussions. So if you don't remember, you know, Chev was going through the motions of being a first timer in jail at the age 35, and you know, he violated a couple times. He washed his dick in the sink. You know, he was trying to muscle Frank for his tissue. He didn't brush it. He did not brush his teeth and wash his hands before he got on the phone. Which I watched that video back, and the reason that you're supposed to brush your teeth and wash your hands is because when you get on the phone in jail, you can smell people's hot ass breath on the phone. You can smell bologna and the little cheese and the eggs that they feed you and the yummy snacks and the cigarettes people smoke in jail. It's not pleasant. It's not pleasant at all. Okay, so that's the reason why you need to wash your fucking hands and brush your goddamn teeth. Plus, niggas walk around with their hands on their dick all day because it's cold and shit. I don't know why people do that, but they do it. I didn't do that because I think this is fucking nasty. You know, all the body fungus that people have and you're putting that on your penis. That's how new STDs get invented, bro. Wash your goddamn hands and stop touching your fucking dick. Why you got your hands in your pants walking around with a whole bunch of niggas in jail anyway? Anyway, I don't know. You know, but you know what? What happened to Shaft is the end of that story. I got cut off, but they lifted Shaft towards the heavens like he was Simba on the Lion King, like he was baby Simba, like he was just. They lifted him towards the heavens like he was baby Simba, and they proceeded to slam his 220-pound ass on his head. They slammed this nigga on. I don't think they slammed. I think they just dropped him. But the whole shit, boo. And I was like, that nigga dead. But and I went over and I looked and he was trying to get up on. He was doing like he was trying to get up on his wrists, and I was like, he's dead. And then what happened? What happened? The CEOs in Cook County are so grimy, bro. They're so grimy. And this wouldn't happen if it was a white CEO. This nigga said, "Hey man, it's about to be the end of my shift. Just stop playing, man. Just get his ass up, put him in bed, man. I don't feel like filling out that paperwork." I was like, he needs help. Why don't you help him? Slap him on his head. Why don't you help him? But he said, get him up off the floor, clean this shit up, put him in the bunk. I don't feel like filling out paperwork. Why? Well, number one, because the CEO's a fucking heartless bastard. And two, because he was pulling, you know, an extra shift. He was putting in 2 extra hours for another CEO that had to handle some business. And, you know, he wasn't supposed to be there, and filling out paperwork takes like an extra 2 hours. And, you know, he didn't want to be a part of that. He didn't want to be in that business of filling out paperwork. So they neglected to get Mr. Shaft off the flow, and he bled. He bled a fuck of a lot. He bled a lot. Like the biggest screen TV that you've seen in your life. Picture that flat screen TV. Look, that. That's how much he bled. And think about it. Think about this. The floor in the dorm was already burgundy, but this nigga's blood was like when you if you've ever seen a movie called Underworld, that much blood, bro. It was like the red in this shirt mixed with that brown. That's how the color was. I was like, damn, son. But he had a cut from like right here to like right here. It was nasty. And they picked him up. They shook the whole dorm. Of course, the hormonal niggas didn't remember, or maybe they did, and they just didn't give a fuck that the dorm had cameras, good ass cameras, and they could see everything we were doing, so they could identify by face each and every person that was involved in this occurrence. All of them got reprimanded. They all got sent to PC, and got uh, they got placed in a more violent setting. They all went to medium or max, depending on what case they were fighting already. It was a guy who was in there for, I think it was called a DDW, which is a discharge of a firearm in public. Another nigga was in there for robbery. It was a gang of niggas who did this shit. They removed like 9 people. It was mostly vice lords and foes. It was one Latin king. I'm not gonna say his name, but it was. I think it was only one BD, one GD, and the rest of them were four corner hustlers and vice lords and one Latin king who was involved. I'm sorry, I'm watching ridiculousness, and this shit it's obviously ridiculous. But what happened to Shaft is he suffered brain damage. He did not press charges. The state didn't pick up the case, which I mean, I'm not even gonna speak on that, bro. I'm not even gonna speak on whether or not the state should have picked up this case for this extremely violent crime, bro. I mean, morally, they should have picked it up. But if they didn't want to do that, they didn't have to do that. If they would have done that, I think they would have been able to charge them with attempted murder, because he did suffer a little bit of brain damage. And I think if you call somebody brain damage, that's aggravated assault, which is a class 3 felony, 4 to 15. They could have charged them with attempted murder or whatever, but it was a lot of people, so many people. They jumped him and then they slammed him on his head. So he was already fucked up. They killed him twice. They fried that motherfucker twice, bro. They smoked his taco, bro. They overly smoked his taco, bro. They made this nigga, and they opened up a whole franchise of Taco Bell inside this nigga's fucking cranium, bro. It was not pretty, bro. It was horrible, bro. And I watched. I watched. I mean, I felt bad because he got jumped, but at the same time, you got V'd up. You shouldn't have violated. I didn't violate, nigga. I had to follow the motherfucking rules. Everybody had to follow the rules, bro. You're not above the rule. Anyway, what happened to Shaft is, I'm sure he's sitting pretty somewhere. He probably got some form of lawsuit because they didn't keep him safe. They have evidence that he got into fights prior to this, but the COs just had no knowledge of this, or maybe they did and they just didn't give a fuck. But if he has a good lawyer, he should be able to get the footage of people jumping him and fighting him. And oh yeah, I said that Frank, the guy who he initially got into combat with, he hit him with a sock and a soap. That was a goddamn lie. He didn't hit that nigga with a sock. Frank had a brick like what you build a house with, outside. Okay, when you go to the kitchen, you have to go outside the dorm and walk around the compound and go to the kitchen area to get to the kitchen. And outside there's rocks, there's sticks, and there's cigarette butts, which AaroniMoses was picking up every cigarette butt I could and selling those motherfuckers for $5 a cigarette. Bitch, don't be sorry, be careful. Anyway, it's not about me, but there was rocks, there was sticks, there was dirt, nigga. I was walking around with dirt in my front pocket, dirt in my back pocket, just in case a nigga wanted to try me. I was going, it's pocket sand. You're not gonna fuck me up, nigga. You're gonna be blind, nigga. Today, you about to get pink eye. You're gonna have the pinkest eyes of all of history's pink eyes. Fire hydrant type shit. Anyways, again, it's not about me, but I'm sorry, I'm a narcissist. So, anyways, outside there was broken sticks, rocks, and bricks. Bricks. There was bricks. I don't know why, but there was bricks outside. And Frank picked up a brick, smuggled it in the jail, and put a brick of all fucking things, not a handful of rocks, a motherfucking brick, and he put it in a sock, tied it up, and bust that nigga in the back of the head with a brick. This nigga will never be able to do algebra for the rest of his life. He has so much brain damage. You, bro, you got busted in the head with a motherfucking brick. Within 4 days of you being in jail, how I know exactly what day it was is because this was the day after the new moon. And exactly a month later, the day after the new moon, this nigga had horrible luck. You already know I'm with the spiritual shit. So I recorded the full moons, the new moons, the half moons, the quarter moons, the waning, waxing. So I tracked my time by the moon cycles. Anyways, the days after the full moons and the new moons is when he got into all these incidents. But Shaft, I'm sure he probably snitched on other people. He beat his case. He only had a pipe case, and in Chicago right now, there's so think of this, bro. All these motherfuckers are glorifying all this violence in Chicago, but I have to fucking live here, nigga. Like, think about this. When I was going to jail 5 years ago, people were getting locked up for pistols. Mandatory time. Mandatory. You have to go to prison. Everybody was saying in the '90s it was just as violent, but it was silent violent. People were getting kidnapped, and it was bad, but it wasn't all willy nilly. It was very organized. It was hits. It was assassinations. Now it's massacres. It's genocide in Chicago. It wasn't genocide in the '90s. It was assassinations. And they said you used to get like $1,000 fine and 60 days for a pistol. It's motherfuckers in the '90s who have like over 5 pistol cases because in the '90s they didn't give a fuck. Then when I started getting locked up in 2010, people were having to do mandatory prison sentences. Now it's so motherfucking violent that they are giving probation for pistols because it's so violent, because it's so popular, because it's so common for people to get caught with pistols. Think about that. Think about how violent a city has to be from going mandatory 3 years to fucking 6 months probation. And not only are they giving you 6 months probation, nigga, they're giving you 6 months probation for your second pistol case, for your third pistol case. I met niggas in jail who got probation on their fourth pistol case in Cook County right now in less than 5 years. Four, four pistols, probation. That's how violent it is in Chicago. Don't glorify it. Don't fucking. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Okay, is they're giving I bonds. They're ROR. They're treating pistol cases like it's DUIs because it's so goddamn violent. Okay, they're tricking people too. They're letting people out on RORs, and people are getting two pistol cases on bond. You get imagine that. Where you live is so violent, you have to carry a pistol, and they let you out on bond, and you get banged up for another pistol because you have to walk around because you don't want to sit in the house. Now you're fighting two pistol cases, and your bond is $15,000. Anyways, that's what happened to Shaft, man. Shaft probably he got probation, 100%. He got probation. He probably got like I want to say he probably got like $15,000 to $20,000 for that, and he's probably gonna get his pistol case thrown out on appeal after he finishes his probation or whatever the fuck, and there's some kind of technicality, and he's gonna get caught with another. He's gonna move to Minnesota or Wisconsin or Iowa. All Chicago niggas move to Iowa or Indiana somewhere. If they paid him any kind of money, he's going to move to Atlanta. He's definitely going to move to Atlanta if they gave him more than $20,000, because I think he said he had 3 kids. He's a Muslim and he's married. He has a wife. So if he's married and he has a wife and he's Muslim, he definitely has more than 2 kids. He probably has 2 daughters and a son, and he probably has 4 kids. His oldest son's probably like 16. And then he probably has two daughters and a 4-year-old son or some shit like that. I don't know. The universe just gave me that information. But anyways, man, that's what happened to Shaq, man. Where is Shaq now, man? I'm the bang, you the bang, we the bang together, man. God damn, Aaron Moses, peace.